Right now on Denver 7 News at 6 a.m., an emotional plea for the U.S. to do more to help Ukraine.
Please stop the bombing.
In less than an hour, Ukraine's president will address Congress.
I'm Denver 7's Colette Bordelon. I'll walk you through the requests that could put pressure on President Biden.
Plus, starting today, higher gas prices hit your food deliveries and Uber trips.
We were all really happy to see that Uber decided to kick in the extra 55 cents to the drivers.
A local driver weighs in on how this fee will keep her rolling.
And the Broncos will make it official today, introducing our new quarterback. Now we're entering a new era with Russell Wilson leading the team. He's already been spotted around Denver doing some good deeds. Good morning, I'm Nicole Brady.
And I'm Jessica Crawford. Our time to enjoy spring-like temperatures is running out. It's a Denver 7 weather action day as more winter weather heads our way. This is a look from Futurecast. Rain and snow are making their way to the metro later today. Meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo is tracking the timing of the storm.
Mere hours, get out there, you're right, this morning and enjoy it. Already starting to see a little increase in cloud cover right now. 47 degrees though in Denver. It's really mild out there this morning. It's going to be 40s and even a few 50s for us this morning, and then we'll hit highs right around 48 to near 52 by early afternoon. So a pretty mild wake up forecast. Not a big warm up though from the morning lows to the afternoon highs, about 7 to 10 degrees. Still pretty warm down over the southeastern corner of the state with some upper 60s. You'll find 30s and 40s in the mountains. Now we're already starting to see a little rain and snow developing on the western slope, and take a look at our Futurecast by about 6 o'clock tonight. Expecting wet conditions for the evening drive. It's going to start off as rain, switch over to snow, and we have some areas of really heavy snow by early tomorrow morning. I'll show you the timing of that and how much snow we're expecting by midday tomorrow, Katie, coming up in just a few minutes.
Lisa, thank you. We have Air Tracker 7 up this morning over Lowell Boulevard. This is just between West 53rd and West 52nd Avenue. Not causing any traffic delays right now, just with lightly traveled roadways, but definitely we want to avoid the area as crews and police there work to get that two-car crash out of the way. In terms of what's happening elsewhere across town, dry roads over the metro, a live look on I-70 there, approaching Steel Street, and some big changes on the I-70 drive on the eastbound lanes. Let's take it to the map. No major problems here over Metro Denver at this hour. There's where Air Tracker 7 was over, but you will see a lane shift, so drivers have slowed down a little bit between Steel and Vasquez near Brighton Boulevard as crews work to continue the Central 70 project, just shifting the lanes over to the south. A couple minutes extra on east and westbound 270 through the south side of town. I-25 running smooth. Similar story on 225 and out to DIA. Pena Boulevard wide open. The train to the plane is running on time, and security wait times at last check under 30 minutes.
We are just about an hour away from a historic first. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy will deliver a virtual address to the U.S. Congress this morning. He'll be pleading with the U.S. to do more to stop Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
After the speech, President Biden will respond and announce millions of dollars in new military aid. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon joins us breaking down what we expect to hear. Colette?
That's right. One of the biggest questions is whether or not Zelenskyy will be putting pressure on the president to try and have NATO impose a no-fly zone. Of course, he doesn't have any power over President Biden, but that remains to be seen what the Biden administration will do. They have repeatedly rejected that idea, as well as help sending fighter jets that Poland wants to get to Ukraine. But Congress could always decide to act on their own if they feel the White House isn't doing enough. The address today will likely be similar to the one Zelenskyy made to Canada's parliament yesterday, where he says almost 100 Ukrainian children have been killed in the invasion, now on its 21st day. Zelenskyy called on Canadians to imagine they were under attack, and he may do the same for Americans, asking us to think of one of our cities being bombed. Here's a key moment from that address where Zelenskyy spoke through a translator.
Please close the sky, close the airspace. Please stop the bombing. How many more cruise missiles have to fall on our cities?
Despite the standing ovation he got from Parliament, NATO still says it can't impose a no-fly zone, scared it would only escalate the war. That's a position echoed by the White House press secretary last night. And the Pentagon says it's confused by Zelensky's request for more warplanes because the country is not often using the planes it already has in service, but is being very effective with the missiles provided by the U.S. and our allies. Colorado Congressman Jason Crow was on CNN this morning saying Ukraine wouldn't ask for weapons they're not using. He says everything being sent is defensive, since Ukraine is not the aggressor.
The needs of war and battles change. The needs have changed because the Ukrainians have shown that they could fight and win this if they're given proper support. 3 weeks ago, not many people thought that could happen, but they have shown that they can.
Crow, a veteran, wants to give Ukraine everything possible without sending American servicemen and women into harm's way. He wants to see the administration up the aid package and send more air defense systems, saying Ukraine needed those yesterday. Live in studio, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Thank you, Colette. Well, right after Zelensky's speech, President Biden will announce $800 million in new military assistance to Ukraine. The funding is part of a nearly $14 billion aid package to Ukraine, included in a government spending bill the president signed yesterday. Biden will speak at 9:45 Mountain Time. Also today, the International Court of Justice will rule on Ukraine's allegations that Russia planned genocide. Ukraine filed the complaint after the invasion started. However, Russia skipped a March hearing on the allegations. If the court rules in favor of Ukraine, it could order Russia to stop its military activity and compensate Ukraine for damages. But the court relies on the United Nations for enforcement, and Russia can veto any actions. This comes as Russian rockets and missiles are still doing significant damage across Ukraine. Bombs are hitting residential neighborhoods, hospitals, and other civilian targets. You can watch President Zelensky's address to Congress right here on Denver 7. ABC News will carry a special report at 7 this morning. If you want to stick with local news, weather, and traffic, you can switch over to our sister station, Local 7, and Local 3 rather. Well, we're all looking for ways around higher gas prices that we're seeing, including using rideshare companies.
Yeah, well, starting today, if you take an Uber, you're going to be charged an extra fee for your trip. The company is adding it to offset the higher gas prices drivers are paying. So this morning, we're taking a 360 in-depth look at what's being done to try to lower these prices. We'll have the push for more local oil production, the amount of oil Colorado already produces, what it takes to drill a new well in our state, and how much our local refineries can actually produce.
First, here's a look at the current average price per gallon in Colorado. We stayed at $3.97 for the past several days, but that's still 60 cents more than what we were paying a month ago. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta starts our team coverage. And Veronica, you spoke to an Uber driver struggling to make ends meet with the higher gas prices.
Right, so if you were banking on hopping on an Uber to help you out with not having to pay so much at the pump, you might want to rethink that. And that's because of that surcharge that Uber is adding to your bills starting today. So not only is this going to be happening for your Uber ride that you were planning, but it's also going to be happening for that Uber Eats delivery that you were hoping to get maybe tonight. So here's what that surcharge is going to be. Riders are going to be paying anywhere between 45 to 55 cents more for their trip, whereas Uber Eats, if you get that delivery, it'll be somewhere between 35 to 45 cents extra. Those extra dimes, they're actually going to go back straight into the driver's pockets, so that's the good news. Increasing gas prices, they have been a hot topic in rideshare forums and even Facebook groups for drivers for weeks now. I spoke with one Uber driver who does a job to supplement her other business, a stallion breeding business. She says she's happy about the added fee, and ultimately it's going to help her break even with those rising prices at the gas station.
I'm happy with it, and I love driving for Uber because it allows me the flexibility with my business that I run to add in the hours where it's fitting, and so far it seems to be a good thing. That bonus was very important for me to know that I was going to be able to continue.
And here's some more news for you this morning. Uber, not the only rideshare company that's doing this. Lyft just recently announced they're also going to be adding a surcharge for their riders. They haven't said exactly how much it's going to be, but both companies have said this is temporary, so they're going to be evaluating whether they need to continue the surcharge or not. We're live in Denver this morning. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Veronica, thank you. Well, this morning, Colorado Republicans will announce a resolution in support of more domestic oil and gas production. Colorado ranks 5th in the U.S. for oil output, and we checked. The U.S. is already the top oil producer in the world. Our consumption just outpaces production. Here's a look at the top 3 countries. The U.S. produces 20%, followed by Saudi Arabia with 12 and Russia with 11. While increasing Colorado's oil output seems like an easy solution, it's not that simple. Colorado Public Radio reports the number of active rigs in the state has held steady at about 14 since February. That's down by nearly half since 2019. Money is a concern too. It costs to open a well and even more to drill a new one. Experts say the pandemic hurt oil producers' bottom lines and they aren't ready to take risks. Energy companies are also dealing with supply chain problems and staffing shortages.
Colorado has 2 operating petroleum refineries in Commerce City. They can process 103,000 barrels of crude a day, about a third of our state's demand back in 2020.
A new era for Broncos country kicks off today. The team is set to introduce Russell Wilson as the new face of the franchise at 2 p.m. when the league's new year technically begins. And the team is shaping up its defense ahead of the big announcement. Our Broncos insider Troy Renk says that outside linebacker Randy Gregory is agreeing on a 5-year, $70 million deal. Gregory was supposed to go to the Cowboys, but chose the Broncos after being upset with Dallas over salary forfeiture language in the contract over fines. Gregory has missed more games than he's played because of multiple suspensions, but the Broncos believe that he's matured. The Broncos are also re-signing linebacker Josie Jewell to a 2-year deal.
It is now just about 6:12 and it's a Denver 7 weather action day. Not so much for today, but for what's going to roll in tonight. Right now we're looking at 40s early on at 9 o'clock. It's going to be a beautiful start to the day. Increasing clouds though here as the day goes on. We'll be at right around 50 degrees by lunch. Low 50s and rain showers developing this afternoon, and then a whole slew of winter weather alerts. I'll detail these and show you how much snow we're expecting coming up.
Oh boy, here it comes. Thanks, Lisa. In terms of traffic conditions across town, we do have Air Tracker 7 up over Lowell Boulevard and West 53rd and 52nd. You can see lanes are blocked here. There's a couple other areas in right around this neighborhood that are being blocked off by police. We have put in a call into the department. We'll let you know the latest when we come back in your full traffic report after the break.
A struggling Colorado school district cut ties with its management company, but the problems for Adams 14 are not over. Why a new report is recommending a major overhaul.
Plus, budget a little extra for your summer vacation. How much more a plane ticket will cost you. And in this case, you can't blame gas prices.